Welcome to FightFest. This time we're hosting the first ever UK Hobbyweight Championship. In the UK there are 5 main weight classes: Antweights at 150 grams, Beetleweights at 1.5 kilograms, Featherweights being 13.6 kilograms, Middleweights weighing 55 kilograms, and of course Heavyweights at a grand total of 110 kilograms. Much like the Beetleweight class a few years ago, British teams started taking an interest in Hobbyweights to reach a true middle ground between the insect weights and the featherweights, taking inspiration from the 12-pound class in the United States. For the past few years, Labman Automation have sponsored a successful Hobbyweight robot fighting club at Leeds University, and more recently the veteran builders of the country have started picking it up now too. Now it's time to see who's the best in the country. Let's see who's competing today. Our first competitor, Blue Python. The builder Chris Sowry has brought more robots to this event than any other competitor. He has 4 robots here to enter alongside his kids. Blue Python is the only Hobbyweight of course, but it's got the strength to flip another featherweight robot, has some experience by winning a Robo Dojo Hobbyweight competition as well. Meanwhile he's up against Andy Russell, known as the builder of Telekinesis, but he's entering his first foray into the Hobbyweight class with Semtex, a drum robot. Those are often known for being smaller than the other robots in their weight class anyway, so Semtex is positively tiny, but it packs a huge punch. Can the plastic of Blue Python hold up to it, or will the spinning speeds of Semtex simply be too strong?
Okay, I'm here with Chris and Ollie from Team Luna. We've got Hobbyweight here. Tell us a little bit about your machine, please, Chris.
Okay, this is called a Blue Python. Reason being, because obviously a bit of a snake. And the main thing about this robot is I built and designed it in 2 days with nothing but scraps.
Fantastic. And was this a last-minute build, or is it just you just had a couple of days free and it needed to get done, and that's when it was done?
The Hobbyweights are fairly new to the UK, and I heard there was going to be rumours about a few competitions, and a few of obviously we're close friends in the community, and I was like, well, they're building Hobbyweights, I want to build a Hobbyweight. So I rummaged through all my spares and parts and managed to bolt and screw and design this silly thing.
I think it's a case you've got to be in it to win it, right? So you've got your machine here today. What would you say its strengths are?
Strengths, I'm hoping reliability. Famous last words. I'm up for fighting anybody. You've got to, as they say, you've got to be in it to win it. If you want to be the best, you've got to beat the best. But anything that spins can end your fight in a matter of seconds.
Well, there is a pit in there, so maybe you can put some of those nasty spinners down that pit. Wish you best of luck today.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got Andy here from Team ARD. We've got little Semtex here. Tell us about this little beauty of a machine.
So it's kind of got a nice tough kind of chassis, kind of aluminium, kind of anodized aluminium all around the sides. But the main fun part is the nice big heavy drum at the front, which you know, kind of just do some damage, chop them in half.
You're in the Hobbyweight tournament today. Is this the first hobby you've ever built?
My first Hobbyweight I've built, and I've never kind of fought one or seen another one in person before. So it was quite fun, like seeing the size of other ones and like the comparison and just seeing what other people kind of came up with. I like that because it's a new class. It's like there's not like a meta yet, so it's like a lot more kind of free to do what you want, and everything's a bit more unique and kind of fresh. So it's always nice to get into new classes like that.
So, how do you fancy your chances today?
I think I'll have to see how it performs in its first fight. If it works, then it could be alright, but if it doesn't, then maybe not.
Back to the drawing board if it doesn't work. I'm sure it'll work very well for you, Andy.
It's not needed, but we'll see how it goes.
Brilliant. Look forward to seeing it compete.
Okay.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Judges are ready. Okay. Our competitors ready. Yeah. So, 3, 2, 1. Fight!
Well, Blue Python, the more experienced robot, but something of an underdog here as we see Semtex's drum getting up to speed already and finding its way under the forks of Blue Python. The more damage those forks take, the less useful they're going to be in getting under their robot. Fortunately, Semtex is quite high off the ground in all departments, but forced to self-right and taking a big hit from the back there as well. This is a strong opening for Semtex right now. Blue Python seems to be moving about okay. A little bit of wiggle room on the claws as it turns around. They're trying to find any way to get under Semtex without going straight into the drum, knowing that their own forks are not made of the strongest material. Don't blame them for trying to find a different way in, but the robot's so small and it can turn on a dime that Blue Python is just not being able to get around it quickly enough. That's a good slam from the side though. They have now found their way underneath very briefly. Can they live from that position? I think they'll need to get a little bit further in if they want to lift Semtex without just losing it entirely. Taking another sucker punch to the face there. Hobbling a bit as it drives away and now on its back entirely. We know Blue Python can self-right quite effectively. What we haven't seen is them lifting another robot. Now just struggling to get a little bit of grip on the arena floor, and right underneath goes Semtex, not slowed at all by the big opponent in its face. Now we see just clutching at the side of the robot. Now the forks are up in the air. That could have been a lethal mistake for Blue Python. Those front wedgelet bits just hanging on, but now look at the state of the base plate. Blue Python is bent from all angles right now. Bits are falling off. Now does look to be turning in circles. Have they locked up that right hand side wheel, or will they be able to drive away? Semtex can just nibble away wherever it wants. Blue Python is turning to face the drum of its opponents, but I don't think they can move that other wheel. So they will be locked in place. Semtex is quite willing to just chew away at its opponent here in the final minute. Blue Python, we may need to count it out, but Semtex would need to leave it alone in order for that to happen. They want to finish the job. Look at the wedgelet just hanging limply from the claws of Blue Python. I think this is it. They're trying their best to get some sort of movement, but without that left wheel, that may be it. Taking another hit to that wheel for good measure, that should properly lock it up. The other wheel is going like the clappers, as we say, but it's not even contacting the floor anymore. The robot is too bent. They're going to be counted out, and that is it for Blue Python. Semtex is your winner in the first fight of the Hobbyweight Championship. Well done to Andy Russell on a very impressive performance. And look at this, so many bits of Blue Python strewn across the arena. We have to get the old broom in there to collect it all up and clear the arena. Blue Python should be repairable for another fight. It's just got one wheel to fix, but they have left a lot of pieces. Semtex a worthy winner. They could be a contender for the title. So, a brand new robot from a brand new team. Robbie Shoulders brings us Barracuda for the first time. Those wheels may look incomplete, but they bring Barracuda a significant height advantage against these much smaller Hobbyweights to allow that vertical spinner in the middle to hit from above and get away from danger. It's going up against Revolt from Gareth Anstey. This man has perhaps more robots than anyone else in the room, competes in every single weight class, so as soon as the Hobbyweights came up, he was in there with a brand new robot straight away. Revolt is a very, very quick pushing robot. Can it reach the high heights of Barracuda, or will it sleuthily slip underneath and find its way to get the robot in the pit? That's going to be the tactic, but will it work out? Let's see over in the arena.
Okay, so we've got Rob here from Team Wyvern. Tell us a little bit about the machine we've got here, Rob, please.
Alright, this is a Barracuda. It's a vertical spinner with big wheels, and that's about all there is to it, really.
It looks like it's made from HDPE, am I right?
HDPE, that's correct.
Correct me if I'm wrong, the idea is it's very tanky, it bends rather than breaks?
Yeah, it's very, very flexible. I've reinforced it where I needed to, but apart from that, it flexes. So.
You look like you've got a mini vert on there, a little vertical spinner. Tell us about that.
It weighs about in the region of 800 to 900 grams, and it's got very, very decent brushless motor on it, so I reckon it should do some damage.
Spins up very fast and gets to quite a high speed. Have you done much testing or fighting with it so far?
Yeah, luckily I got my own place, so I've actually built a test box for this, so yeah.
Brilliant. So what are you fighting today?
I think the first fight is a flat wedge box, so at least the plus of that at least is that even if I lose I don't get much damage, so that's quite nice.
Are you feeling fairly confident?
Yeah, I'd say I do pretty well actually, because I've got small field, so.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to seeing you fight. Brilliant. Thanks, Rob. Okay, so we've got Gareth here from Team Ablaze. Gareth, tell us a little bit about this lovely machine.
So this is Revolt. It's based on Resistance, which is my beta weight ram bot. Basically, it's a big pusher trying to four-wheel drive, trying to push robots around the arena about 20 miles an hour into a wall.
Now, you've done rather well with your smaller version of this machine recently. How do you rate your chances today?
To be honest, given it's a new class, it's hard to tell. The robots that we go up against, they could be all ultra reliable, very different style of fighting, and you just don't really know.
Have you had a look at any of the others in the pits? Is there anyone there that you're particularly worried about, perhaps?
I think all of them in different ways, really. My first round fight is going to be quite hard because it's a style of robot I've not really fought before, certainly with my beta weight at least, and there's nothing to really push against with big wheels, and it's just going to go all over me. Potentially, if things go our way, there's a few robots I think I've got a good advantage on in terms of I have a strategy for them, but then they do look very potent as well, so any small mistake or anything that goes wrong in my own strategy, it could just end straight there. It's just going to be very hard to predict what's going to happen, and that should be exciting to see.
That's fantastic. Sounds like you're very prepared. Hopefully the opposition don't put up too much resistance.
Yeah, we have what are our robots? Barracuda and Revolt. Are we ready? So, 3, 2, 1, fight!
Interesting defensive modifications on the front of Revolt there, but Barracuda up to speed and a huge hit right there, hitting Revolt on those exposed parts and sending it up into the air. But a quick response from Revolt is going to put it right back into this fight. They have put 2 forks on top of their defensive wedge. Those are usually meant to be its wedgelets for getting under robots, but they've positioned it so that they're sitting upright and has seemingly scraped at the belt, I think, of Barracuda. And there is no spinning action from that robot anymore. There's washers all over the arena, the weapon practically imploding on itself. And if they can't spin, they may not be able to win. Revolt is down to just one of the 2 forks on top of the robot that they entered with. Those were a perfect modification to reach high enough to reach not only the main body of Barracuda, but also the exposed weapon belt, and they look to have struck gold with this one. They may only have 1 fork left, but that's still enough to push from the front edge of Barracuda, and no pushing is going to save Barracuda here when they are just practically 2 half-filled wheels trying to fight against perhaps the quickest pusher in the arena. It's going to go to a judge's decision, but Revolt with the perfect strategy may have carried the day there. Still in working condition, as we can see. The judges will decide.
Unanimous judge's decision in favour of Revolt.
But it's settled here today. Revolt, with the strategy to counter Barracuda completely, has won, and it will be moving on to the semi-finals as well. And so, the competitors in the final first round fight, we have Onikuma, the name coming from Japanese folklore. This is built by Chris Lobley, who is known mainly for the featherweight Barguest, a grab and lift robot with a lot of success. But spinners are a brand new venture for him. No one's really expected to see him come with such a vicious killing machine, but it could be one to watch. Arcanum, meanwhile, is entered from Loughborough University, but, well, it doesn't entirely look complete at the moment. The build started 1 week ago, we're told. It has turned up to FightFest in this state. The fight is coming up very, very soon. Will Max Scott actually be able to complete Arcanum in time for the fight, or will we have to call on a reserve? Best of luck to him in finishing the robot in time. It could be a threat in its own right. Onikuma, though, ready to go. But here we are at Labman headquarters, the heart of robotics in Northern England. Labman employees and experienced roboteers joined forces to make this spectacular event possible. A huge thank you to them for making it happen. If you'd like to compete or volunteer with FightFest, or even apply at Labman Automation for an internship, head over to their Facebook and Instagram and like their pages to keep up with what's going on.
Okay, so we've got Chris here from Team Cerastes, and this is Onikuma. I think I'm right in saying Oni for demon, Kuma for bear, is that right?
Yep, it's based on the legend of a Japanese bear that would go into the villages late at night and kidnap cows.
Don't know if we've got any cows in that arena today, but maybe plenty of robots for as well. That's what we like to hear, Chris. So it's a vertical spinner. What made you go for this design?
Most of my time I've spent with lifters. If people don't know already, as evidence on my shirt here, I have a robot called Barguest. It started out in the 2018 Heavyweight Championship. We're working on a third one now, but in the meantime this is a holdover, and most of my robots beforehand have been lifters. And I decided that since I was starting a new weight class, the Hobbyweight category, I thought, why not try something different?
And still, I imagine this control's a little bit different to that type of machine, is that right?
Considering it's got a spinning weapon, I've got to deal with the gyro, and you know, in case I hit another robot, I might just bounce back onto my back, and then, you know, the weapon will catch on the floor and it could bounce even more. I've got to be careful about that. So I've got to time my strikes very precisely and very carefully. I can't just willy-nilly just ram into everything and hope for the best. It's a completely new weapon that I'm not used to.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing you fight. I think it's probably going to do quite well. I like the look of this one. We wish you the best of luck.
Okay, ready, and 3, 2, 1, fight!
Well, fantastic to see Arcanum in the arena and fighting, but how well will it move when it's just been completed for the first time? Well, it doesn't look like they've got any life out of that spinner on the front at the moment, it seems, but definitely plenty out of Onikuma as they go for a shot on the rear. Well, actually, Arcanum finding its way under Onikuma there. They don't have a wedge or a weapon, but they're finding ways to attack. Although, it does look like it's come to an end already. There's a teeny bit of twitching back and forth, but, well, that's not what I'd call controlled movement. Not sure if that's down to Onikuma landing a killer blow, or if Arcanum simply isn't ready for this world yet. They're trying to edge forward, but they are going to be counted out. That's the win for Onikuma. They'll be moving on to the semi-finals. Bit more build time for Arcanum now. Maybe they can get it working for the losers melee, but for now, Chris Lobley will be heading to the semi-finals. Once again, thank you to the sponsors of our event. Wranglebox provide top quality robotics parts and have even offered prizes to the top 3 finishers of each competition. Everyone on the podium has earned some vouchers that they can use on wranglebox.com, and you too can head over there and get the ideal parts to go inside your fighting robot. Team Immersion have also led the organisation of this event and even designed the arena that we're fighting in today. If you need design work done for a combat robot, a non-combat robot, an arena, just about anything you can think of, make use of their mechanical engineering services and their CAD skills. That's Team Immersion Engineering on Facebook and Instagram. Our losers melee then to get one of the 3 remaining machines into the semi-finals. Barracuda, they fixed the vertical spinner so they could be a damaging force in this melee. Blue Python had even more repairs to do, but hopefully they're in full working condition for this one. And Arcanum, well, we simply won't know until they enter the arena, but we do know that they are going to put it in there.
Losers melee. Okay, competitors, are you ready? They look ready. Judges, are you ready? Okay, so 3, 2, 1, fight!
Here we go then, Blue Python zipping out the gate and Barracuda up to speed. We know they're working fully. Arcanum is creeping into the arena, getting into the centre of the fray, albeit Blue Python right behind it. Yeah, they're kind of working, I think it's fair to say, but maybe Blue Python and Barracuda will be the focus of the action unless something dramatic happens, like a spinner-on-spinner contact. Of course, the Arcanum spinner not actually working and they're looking a little bit motionless for now, but still trying to get involved. Blue Python cycling around. Well, they might not be involved much longer. The Barracuda blade has climbed up Arcanum and ripped the top panel off. And that means there's wires exposed, batteries, pretty much anything flammable is exposed on the top of Arcanum. I'm seeing bits of belts on the arena floor as well. They'd be unwise to get anywhere near that spinner again, but Blue Python is taking the fight to Barracuda in the corner, and they've done it! They've ripped away the weapon belt of Barracuda, and that's going to leave them without any means of attack. Blue Python has done an incredible job of avoiding everyone and getting the killer lift exactly when it's needed. Oh, and speaking of which, underneath Arcanum they're flipping it over onto the disc, and we're not going to see any more from that machine. That is a KO scored by Blue Python, and now they just have a weaponless Barracuda to deal with. Parts of their wheels are falling off as the battle goes on. It's providing the height advantage, but they're certainly brittle. And Blue Python right now hooking it over the arena wall, actually. They now have free reign to try and get the KO or just some more fancy lifts. Again, Barracuda recovers so quickly whenever it is lifted over, but that's still points being scored on aggression and control every time that they do get one of those lifts. Right now, Barracuda is going to need to ride the fact that they did cause a lot of damage to Arcanum by ripping off the top panel, and they maybe need to cause some inherent extra damage. Maybe prey on the bits of Blue Python that haven't been fully recovered, but quite how they're going to do that, I'm not sure. Blue Python almost certainly winning this one right now, and they have the full arena at their luxury to try and push their limping foes around. Of course, Arcanum is fully counted out now. They are eliminated and cannot come back in this one. The two competitors are hanging around the pit there, and that is maybe deliberate on Barracuda's part if they want to get Blue Python to drive themselves in, maybe. I'm not sure if there's really any other tactic, but don't go too close or you might fall in yourself. Blue Python is going to get the grips around, and yes! They're able to secure the knockout. They can push in Barracuda. No gripping force on those wheels when the wheels themselves are practically falling apart. Blue Python has secured the double knockout, and they will be rejoining the competition in the semi-finals. So there we go. That was the moment they put Arcanum officially out of the running. They were never truly in it to begin with. And Barracuda, once the weapon was gone, the hope was gone. Blue Python, very impressive in that losers melee and did have a very tough opening draw. They'll be a threat as they aim for the final. Can they do it on this redemption route? It remains to be seen.
Okay, so I'm here with Rob and his machine Barracuda. Have you enjoyed the event, Rob?
Yeah, it's been good fun to find out it's this new design, so yeah.
How do you think the machine performed? Are you happy with it?
Pretty good apart from the wheels, they kind of fall apart on their own. So basically, instead of these tie wraps here, they'll actually be plastic, so it'll be a plastic circle there, so that's to be a lot stronger.
Fantastic. Well, I think you had some really good fights out there. We're glad you've enjoyed yourself, and we look forward to having you back. Okay, we're here with Max with his robot Arcanum. How have you enjoyed the event so far, Max?
It's been really good. My fights didn't go too well, unfortunately, but I've enjoyed watching everyone else's.
Yeah, you had a few problems, but I think you worked really hard to get in there. Am I right, it was a bit of a last-minute build for you this time?
I basically, a lot of the thing is 3D printed, which is, in retrospect, not a great idea. I didn't have any spares of them, and yeah, it was a bit all last minute, but I got it in the arena at least. So
maybe a learning curve, a few areas you've learned where you can improve and come back stronger next time. Yeah,
it's one of my first events, so I guess coming here and seeing what people do is like really helpful, just to have some perspective on what, you know, actually goes into making robots, basically.
For your first event, we think you've done really well. Congratulations, mate, and we look forward to seeing you again.
Thanks again, Isaac. Those Hobbyweights are so insane. In a few weeks, they'll be back for the semi-finals in what will be the most destructive episode yet. The nasty drum of Syntex will face off against the rampant body slammer of Revolt, and the brutal vertical disc of Onikuma goes up against the impressive underdog Blue Python. In next week's episode, it's the Annihilator Finals. We started with 10 robots and now we're down to 6. Who will take home the title? Will Telekinesis get their weapon repaired in time? Could Explosion plough its way to victory once again? Will Impact turn the tide and bring its brutal flipper back into action? Would Straddle walk over its enemies? Can the sleek Euphoria outdrive its opposition? Or can the Youngblood, Oi and Light Fury mark the passing of the torch? There's only one way to find out. You have to tune in next week.